Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We are in the week of Thanksgiving. Some people may have already traveled, may have left on Friday to get a nice long week. Those of you, there might be others who are leaving maybe Tuesday, Wednesday to try and get to Turkey Day somewhere. So we thought it'd be a good idea to check on gas prices. First, let's take a look at the chart from Gas Buddy published today. You can see where we've been in past years for Thanksgiving. Projected price per gallon of gas nationwide, $3.25. That's all the way on the right side. And you can see dating back 10 years, we've been kind of all over the board. We're cheaper than we were last year, cheaper than the year before by a few cents. But when you look at that 2020, wow, $2.11 for gas. You can go back to 2015. We had $2.05 for a gallon. Yes, we would all kill for some of those prices, or maybe not kill. We would just love to see some of those prices. Let's bring in Patrick DeHaan. He is a petroleum analyst with Gas Buddy. Patrick, how are you? Happy early Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Dan. It's great to be with you.
We enjoy your services throughout the year, not just the week of Thanksgiving. Let's talk about the forecast. We've seen a steady 9-week decline of our gas prices. What's going on? Why are we seeing prices decline, which is, yes, a good thing?
Well, declines generally happen almost every fall. People may think it's because of the election. Well, it's not quite as nefarious of somebody politically starting to take charge, but this is simply Americans driving less, especially in northern countries, northern states, I should say, northern counties. People on Thanksgiving aren't putting their boat in the lake or anything, driving to the lake cottage. We're getting together with people and staying inside, generally speaking. And that's why Americans don't consume as much gasoline in the fall, which usually pushes prices down, coupled with the fact that we've transitioned back to cheaper winter gasoline. The price of oil has also dropped for 4 straight weeks as well. So all of that pushing average prices to their lowest level in Cleveland since last year, since last Christmas. Again, we generally see some of the lower prices between now and Christmas. The average price about $3.11, and we could go a little bit lower, although OPEC is going to be meeting as we are all getting together for Thanksgiving. OPEC could end up cutting production in light of the recent big drop in the price of oil.
And that's, of course, when they cut production, makes supply a little bit less, and that means demand and the price is going to head up. We understand how that works. I want to talk about 2020. When we showed that chart, wow, price $2.11 for a gallon of gas. What was going on in 2020? Why was it so much cheaper, $1 and maybe 25 cents cheaper?
Well, a lot of states were still dealing with various lockdowns. Remember, authorities were urging people not to get together simply because Omicron was making rounds. It was the height of COVID. People just weren't driving as many places. Restaurants were shut. Hotels were still shut down. So it made Thanksgiving a lot different. We didn't know if we'd ever get back to kind of where we are today. And that is what kept prices so low in 2020. It wasn't really anything, no lever that the president really had, just simply Americans driving a heck of a lot less than we are today. And indeed, more Americans are hitting the road this Thanksgiving. We're up to 41% of Americans that plan to travel this Thanksgiving. That's up 8 percentage points from last year, or excuse me, 8% from last year. And it's a huge jump compared to 2020 when people were not traveling because of the worry of spreading Omicron and things like COVID.
It makes complete sense there. Let's talk about Ohio's position. Pennsylvania to our east, we've got Indiana to our west, then you get to Illinois. If I'm traveling, and we can go south and you've got Kentucky, if I'm traveling out of state, are there certain states where if you're leaving Ohio, you should really find a gas station 10, 12 miles before you get to the border because you don't want to pay a bunch in taxes? What of the states that border Ohio, which ones should you look to fill up before you get out of the state?
Well, if you're going southwest, that's about the only clear direction. You'll probably pay something really similar in Kentucky. So again, if you're headed southwest to Kentucky, that's about the only state that's as low as Ohio compared to your neighbors. Indiana tends to be a bit higher. Michigan tends to be a bit higher. Pennsylvania is a whole lot higher, as we all know. And West Virginia is a little bit higher as well. Now, if you're headed deep south, that's the good news. Some of the nation's lowest prices in areas like Tennessee, where the statewide average is just $2.91, Alabama, Georgia, even Florida on the cusp of falling below $3 a gallon. So all of your neighbors tend to be more expensive, with the exception being Kentucky. If you're heading far south, you'll want to wait till some of those other states like Texas and Alabama, where prices are significantly lower than Ohio.
And Patrick, we're speaking with Patrick DeHaan. He's a petroleum analyst with Gas Buddy. I think I have the answer to this question. I think you gave it to us by saying that OPEC is meeting and trying to decide if they're going to cut the supply as far as how much they're producing and putting out on the open market. So can I even ask you for a forecast? Will Ohio get below $3 anytime soon?
It's really going to depend on what action, if any, OPEC takes, because there are some expectations that, given the big decline we've seen in the last few weeks, that Saudi Arabia is going to extend their production cuts, which they announced they were extending them to the end of December. Now they could roll them over into January, and that is something that we don't really know yet, but the Saudis have hinted they could do that. That would then drive oil prices up. And it could create a pocket of low prices, maybe for the next week, before prices then start to react to that OPEC news. So this could be close to the lower prices that we'll see for the winter if OPEC does announce a production cut here later this week.
And we'll have to keep an eye on that. Want to extend our thank you and our warmest Thanksgiving greetings to everybody there at Gas Buddy. Patrick DeHaan, thanks for joining us. Truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Take care. I just want to give you a heads up heading out for Thanksgiving, where the prices are expected to go, what states may have a little bit lower price. Always excellent information from Gas Buddy and GasBuddy.com. Use Gas Buddy if you've never been to the website. Just like the conversation we were having, you can find cheaper gas in your neighborhood. You can find which states are more expensive, which are cheaper. It's really a great tool when you're heading out for a vacation. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be right here at on our digital properties. Until then, I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.
All right, brother, much appreciated.
Likewise.
I got into a bottle of, you ever had Blue Run? It's got a silver butterfly, kind of a plastic butterfly on the front of the bottle, not the rye. I know the only bottle I've been able to find was in the Chicago area when we were there last February. Phenomenal
I'll have to
bottle.
look for it. Where'd you find it?
It was either at Binny's. I think it was probably at Binny's. But it's
I'll
called,
have to check that out.
Yeah, called Blue Run, and it was also phenomenal. For my birthday, one of my buddies was down in Kentucky and brought me another bottle back.
And you said not the rye.
Yeah, not the rye. This is the straight Blue Run bourbon. So
Blue Run straight bourbon.
Enjoy the holiday, sir.
Hey, you as well. Not too much on Wednesday, but enjoy a little bourbon.
It'll be Wednesday night. All right, take care, man.
All right, Dan. Take care. See ya.